Today we have a very interesting topic on our hand about the three different chains in supply chain management. So when we discuss about supply chain management, we come across with three different kinds of chains. Those are like supply chain, value chain, and blockchain. So let's see what they are and how they are differentiated and how they are connected among themselves. Briefly, as we know, supply chain is a chain of supplying goods and services, whereas value chain is a chain which creates value at every step, and blockchain is a chain of blocks of information. So this was kind of brief definition of all these three chains. So let's see in the next slide so what actually they are. Seeing their core differences or emphasis among these chains is that supply chain has an operational perspective, whereas value chain has a business perspective, and blockchain has an informational and transparential perspective. So these are their three main. These are the main difference between among these all three chains. After mentioning different perspectives of these chains, let's see how they are connected in a supply chain management. For that, let's first define them one by one. As we know, supply chain is a network used to deliver products and services from raw material to end customers through an engineered flow of information, physical distribution, and cash. So it is comprised of a network of both identities and the process. On the other hand, blockchain is more of an information technology, which are list of records called blocks and are linked using the cryptography. These are open distributed ledgers. Those can record transactions between two parties efficiently in a verifiable and permanent way. To further elaborate, blockchain is a decentralized, distributed, and public digital ledgers. Those are used to record transactions across many computers so that the records cannot be altered and without any alteration of any subsequent blocks and the consensus of the network. So these are basically decentralized, distributed, and public digital ledgers which record the transactions across different computers and which cannot be altered without the consent of the other parties or without the knowing of the other party. So these are very verifiable and very accurate and in a permanent way. After defining these two concepts, let's see how they are connected or related. The inclusion of word chain in both is the key point to highlight the differences and associations. As we know, supply chain is a linkage of parts, products, services, processes, individual, department, organizations, companies, assets, and transactions. The technology used underneath is to make all of these linkages highly verifiable. People and the process still connect using using everything ranging from the phones, faxes through emails, spreadsheets, smartphone, the Internet of Things, electronic connectivity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and more. So whereas blockchain is a digital electronic linkage of information through any type of transaction leveraging the technology, a digital electronic ledger, the information could be anything as long as it is digital. So it could use for health record management, insurance claims processing, contract management, financial services, voting records, cyber security, personal identification records, and more. So these the blockchain is basically information technology to use the record all the records for any kind of transaction among different parties, and same is in the supply chain. After discussing supply chain and blockchain, let's see another major concept in supply chain management, that is value chain, and it is very much related to the supply chain. The concept of value chains comes from a business management perspective, where opportunities are looked for to add value to the business. These may look for ways to cut back on shortages, prepare product plans, and work with others in chain to add value to the customer. They have like 5 steps in value chain process. These steps gives the company the ability to create value exceeding the cost of providing its goods and services to the customer. So, and maximizing these activities in one of the 5 steps allow company to have a competitive advantage over the competitors in the industry. So let's see what are these 5 steps in next slide. These are 5 steps. Number 1 is inbound logistic, number 2 is operations, number 3 outbound logistic, number 4 marketing and sales, and the last is the service. So let's see one by one what they are. So inbound logistic is basically receiving, warehousing and inventory control, whereas operation is the value creating activity that transform input into the products such as assembly and manufacturing. And then outbound logistic is the activity required to get a finished product to a customer. These include warehousing, inventory management, order fulfillment and shipping. And the next one is marketing and sales activity associated with getting a buyer to purchase a product. And then the last one is the service activities, those to maintain and enhance the product value, such as customer support and warranty services and after sale services. In order to help streamline the 5 primary steps, the value chain also requires a series of supporting activities. These may include procurement, technology development, human resource management and infrastructure, and plus other accounting or financial function. Continuing on value chain, a profitable value chain requires connection between what consumer demand and what a company produce. Simply putting, the connection or the sequence in value chain originates from the customer's request, moves through the value chain process, and finally ends in the finished products. So value chain is basically also a chain, like we have tried to explain in the first slide, that it triggered from customers demand. So this was a definition of value chain in supply chain. Calculating to come at the end of this presentation or lecture is the supply chain moves goods and services from source to end customer, whereas value chain triggers from customer to source, and blockchain keeps a transparent records of all these transactions and movement. So they are all related to each other. Like supply chains are operational, value chains are putting the profit or the value in that chain, and blockchain is basically keeping all the record of these transactions or the movements among all these processes and identities. So I hope you have a clear idea what these 3 chains are in a supply chain management. If you have any question, please let me know. Thank you.